You're standing at the check-in counter. You hand over your suitcase. Someone slaps a tag on it, throws it on a belt, and that's it. You don't think about it again until you're staring at the baggage carousel an hour later, hoping it shows up. But in that time, your bag traveled through one of the most complex logistics systems ever built. It got scanned, sorted, routed, loaded, and tracked, all without a single human being making a decision about where it goes. This is how airports handle millions of bags, and it's a lot more impressive than most people realize. When you check in a bag, the first thing that happens is a tag gets printed and attached to the handle. That tag is everything. It contains a barcode, sometimes also an RFID chip, that holds your flight number, your destination, your connecting flights, and a unique bag ID number. From this moment on, your bag is no longer your bag. It's a data point moving through a system. The belt at the check-in desk isn't just a conveyor. It feeds directly into what's called the Baggage Handling System, or BHS. This is the network of belts, tunnels, sensors, and automated machines that runs underneath the airport. In large airports like Heathrow, Frankfurt, or Dubai, this system can stretch for over 50 kilometers of track. At the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta, the busiest in the world, the underground baggage system moves over 100,000 bags every single day. Once your bag enters the BHS, the first thing it hits is a scanning tunnel. High-speed cameras read the barcode from every angle, top, sides, bottom. The system is designed to read the tag no matter how the bag is oriented. If the barcode can't be read, maybe it's crumpled or placed awkwardly, it goes to a secondary scanner. If that fails too, it gets diverted to a human operator who reads it manually and keys in the information. This scanning doesn't just identify the bag, it logs it into the system. From this point, the bag is tracked at every decision point through the network. The BHS software now knows exactly which flight this bag belongs to, what time that flight departs, what gate it leaves from, and if there are any connections involved. It uses this information to calculate the optimal path through the system, and it does this in real time for thousands of bags simultaneously. Now the sorting begins. Your bag moves along high-speed conveyor belts. These belts can travel at around 10 meters per second, which is about 36 kilometers per hour. That might not sound fast, but when you see a suitcase flying down a tunnel underground at that speed, it's genuinely impressive. At key junctions in the system, there are diverters, mechanical arms, or angled conveyor sections that push bags left or right depending on their destination. The system doesn't slow down to think. By the time the bag reaches a junction, the decision has already been made and the diverter is already set. Large international airports use a technology called tilt tray sorters. Imagine hundreds of small flat platforms. Each one carries one bag, moving around an oval track at high speed. When the tray reaches the correct chute for the right flight, it tilts and the bag slides off into a bin or a cart below. These systems can sort over 10,000 bags per hour in a single installation. Some airports use a system called destination-coded vehicles, small automated carts that travel on a track and carry bags individually to their destination gate area. These are especially common in newer, purpose-built airports. Once sorted, bags land in a staging area for their specific flight. Here, airport workers, called ramp agents, load them into unit load devices, which are the standardized metal containers that fit inside the aircraft hold. These containers are designed to match the shape of the fuselage, so the cargo area is used efficiently. The loading itself isn't random. Weight and balance calculations are done for every flight. Heavier bags go in specific positions to keep the aircraft balanced. The order in which bags are loaded matters. Bags for connecting passengers, for example, need to be accessible or positioned for quick offloading. Now, what about connecting flights? This is where the system gets genuinely complicated. If you fly from, say, Skopje to London Heathrow, and then from Heathrow to New York, your bag has to make that same connection. But your bag travels through a different part of the airport than you do. It goes through the BHS, gets rescanned, and the system figures out whether it has enough time to make the connection. Every airport has what's called a minimum connection time, the shortest possible time between a flight arriving and a connecting flight departing for a bag to still make it. This varies by airport. At some airports, it's 35 minutes. At others, it's over an hour. The BHS factors this in automatically. If the system calculates the bag won't make it because the first flight was delayed or the connection window is too tight, the bag gets flagged, and a human supervisor is notified so they can make a decision. Sometimes they hold the connecting flight. Sometimes the bag is placed on the next available flight and delivered to you at your destination. Now for the question everyone actually wants to know. How often does baggage get lost? The airline industry tracks this closely, and the numbers have actually improved dramatically over the past 15 years. In 2007, roughly 46 bags were mishandled per 1,000 passengers. By 2023, that number was down to about 6 per 1,000. Mishandled doesn't always mean lost forever. It includes delayed bags, bags that were damaged, or bags that went on the wrong flight but were recovered and delivered later. Truly lost bags, ones that are never recovered, are far rarer. Most mishandled bags are reunited with their owner within 48 hours. The most common reason for delays isn't the automated system failing. It's tight connection times combined with flight delays. If your first flight lands 40 minutes late and your connection was already the minimum, the bag sometimes just doesn't make it. What happens when a bag is actually lost? First, the airline system will try to locate it. Every scan point in the BHS generates a log entry so they can trace the bag's path and figure out where it went. Often they find it. It went to the wrong city, or it's sitting in a sorting facility somewhere. If the bag is found, it gets put on the next available flight and delivered to wherever you are, usually to your hotel or home, at the airline's expense. If the bag truly cannot be found after several weeks, the airline will compensate you. Under international rules, specifically the Montreal Convention, airlines are liable for lost baggage up to a defined limit, currently around $2,175 as of 2025. If your bag contained items worth more than that, you would have needed to declare excess value at check-in. Unclaimed bags that are genuinely lost often end up at places like the Unclaimed Baggage Center in Scottsboro, Alabama, a retail store that buys unclaimed airline luggage and sells the contents to the public. It's been operating since 1970 and receives millions of items per year. The entire baggage handling system, from the moment you drop your bag at check-in to the moment it lands on the carousel, typically takes between 20 and 45 minutes, depending on the airport. That includes the scanning, sorting, transport, loading, the flight itself, unloading, and transport to the carousel. The carousel you stand at isn't random either. The BHS tracks which flight's bags are being unloaded and routes them to the assigned carousel in the arrivals hall. When you see the carousel number on the board, that's the system at the other end doing its job. Here's what's remarkable about all of this. It works almost invisibly, almost all of the time, for hundreds of millions of passengers every year. No single person decides where your bag goes. No human looks at your tag and says, "Put that one on belt 7. It's a system designed to make millions of decisions per hour, automatically, reliably, at speeds a human could never match. The next time you see your bag come around on that carousel, it went on a fairly extraordinary journey to get there.